I think if they're expecting TA mid, we've seen Lina still draw out that lane, so probably better off there. If you want to go off lane as a 4 with the Sand King on off, that's pretty aggressive. I think you get a lot of value from the chain stuns. You can hold someone down for a long time. You've got great range on Lina still to kind of harass out. You know the Abaddon is likely your 5 in that lane, so Lina can kind of bully him out, especially if she does opt for something like fast boots. You can just kind of play with your range or block, make sure that the Abaddon can't really trade, and kind of go from there. And it also kind of takes away the potential of saves from Abaddon. He only has one cast of the shield every so often. If you manage to chain stun properly, bait the Abaddon in a bit, you can still get the follow-up stun from your Lina or Sand King, depending on who you start with. So you can still get more aggression out despite that save factor. I think the Lina 4 has more value, but again, it's fairly open for MY. They do have last pick overall, so they should be able to tell by Execration's draft where each hero is going to end up and adjust accordingly with that Lina.
Well, hear me out though, John. Couldn't MY go for something like an Ember Spirit this game in the mid lane and just guarantee the +4 Lina here? Like, Ember does well against Puck and TA. I feel like it just kind of... It allows you to have a really strong off lane and still win the mid lane, or at least even out in the mid lane. Not 100% sure if MY enjoy running the Ember, but it does feel like a pretty decent pick here. Maybe not into the Abaddon, but you know, it's Abaddon. Nobody likes playing against Abaddon. Having that aphotic shield to purge off all the stuns and the chains, but you know, he can only do so much, is what I'm saying. And I feel like Ember is a pretty good pick here for MY, if they felt comfortable going down that route.
Yeah, there are no hard to hold heroes from Execration outside of the Puck Silence and the Dream Coil. And, well, the Dream Coil takes a while to get in lane, and the Silence is not reliable against a hero like Ember. He does have a lot of ways of playing around it. We have seen MY run the Ember a couple of times to pretty great effect, if I want to say so.
Right.
So we'll see. I think Execration, I don't see something to fix their lineup unless they pick a off-lane last for Raging Potato instead and run that TA save Puck mid. They need something to give them some control, some team fight. Like, Dream Coil alone doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. You don't have the arrow set up for the Mirana. You don't have anything to break the Dream Coil, like, say, the Terrorblade or the Earth Spirit. So the engagements just look a bit iffy. They've got the damage with the TA Puck to a certain extent, but it's really lacking in control. So I think Execration needs something. I don't see a fix on a pause 1. Like, I don't see any here for Palos to kind of give them that. So I think they're going to have to flex that TA around just to fix their draft.
Okay. Well, they've got 15 seconds left to make this final pickup. We'll see where Execration is going to take this draft. Are they going to run the Puck off lane, the safe lane TA, the mid TA? It's all very, very open right now in Execration. They're going to go for the Brewmaster. So it's still a little bit open, but it does seem like it's probably going to be like a Brewmaster off lane, perhaps, that we're looking at. Unless they're running something really weird, like an Abaddon off lane, which, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing, quite frankly. But I'm pretty sure we're looking at a Brewmaster off lane with the Mirana. And I suppose that still can be quite potent with the Cinderbrew and the Thunderclap into the Arrow. And MY, they're not going to go the Ember route, but they do pick up the Void Spirit instead. I don't think it's quite as good as the Ember here, but it still has a lot of value, especially once you have the Ags up. Going to be very hard for the Puck, the Mirana, the Brewmaster. And I think that might be the idea for BB here, right? Like, you want those AoE silence charges against the heroes of Execration, because they do rely on being able to use those spells to be effective. Apart from the TA.
Yeah, once you hit that Ags timing for BB, it's going to feel a lot easier to get control in these fights, but I don't think the pressure's really on BB. I think it's going to have to be on Sari, Sand King. Blink timing for the Sand King is pretty important here. We do tend to see a lot of players not rush the Blink, though, so we tend to see the Hood of Defiance or Vanguard first, which is fine in this case. You'd want some durability to come out. It is the Raging Potato Brewmaster here for Execration and Bob TA, so they're running the Palos safe lane Puck, keeping Bob on his signature hero. TA versus Void Spirit, again, going back to the point of her friend Crest Dota, he does feel like TA does not enjoy melee matchups as much, and for the Void Spirit, well, his shield in his spell kit, his Resonant Pulse, does block physical, so he feels a lot. It feels a lot easier for the Void Spirit to get some initial farm The TA still has good access into the jungle, and as levels go up, that lane should sort of equalize as long as you don't misstep into the remnants coming out from BB. So Bob should still be able to hit some farm spikes. I'm keen to see what kind of pace Execration wants, because on the pause 1 puck for Palos, you still sort of want to play fast. Like, you want to use your Dream Coil. You're really not a passive pause 1, and we have seen Palos take these kinds of heroes, like the Kunkka safe lane, and take activity early on. We need to see him do that again. He needs to be ready to rotate, leave the lane, make some space. The real win condition for Execration is going to have to be Bob, and they're going to have to make that space for the TA to get big.
Fair enough, John. Did I ask you the hard question yet? I don't think I did. Who came out with the better draft, John? Tell us that. That's what we want to hear. That's what the viewers need to hear from you.
I'd stick to MY. I like the Sand King Lina offlane combination here with Tigger and Seri. I think BB should be able to manage mid well enough, and they've got a pretty good pace to play with. Like, in terms of just level spikes, their level 6 is really good. Execration's is as well. I think what you're going to watch out for on Execration's part is that their cooldowns are very long at level 1, and you can see all chat coming out from both teams. Seri calling Bob asking for Seri to wait. Seri saying Bob's a troublemaker, which is right. Best of 12 versus Execration. Seri, no.
Yeah, look, Seri, I don't know if we're in for the best of 12 today, mate. Might have to leave it for another day. Yeah. Everyone hates each other, apparently, as well. Tigger hates everyone. Here you go.
Seri's been saying this as well in the lobby. He can't go home unless he wins something big. And he's been saying that the entire time. He's like, all right, well, we were waiting for a team to come in. We offered to, let's have a Casters versus MY. He's like, yeah, do it so I can go home. Get that win.
Who says we'd lose? That's a bit unfair of Seri. We're not that bad, are we? Of course we'd win. The casters always win. These pro players, they have no idea. We're choosing to be here casting the game instead of playing professionally.
Definitely. And, you know, we have our friends from BTS Brazil. They'd help us out.
Yeah.
Bring some South American flavor into that matchup. Would have been really nice.
Absolutely. Be very, very fun. Never going to happen, though, because these professionals obviously don't want to get embarrassed by the casters. You know, we'll spare them the embarrassment. You know, we're meant to hype these guys up, John, not knock them down.
Fair enough. Still, it's the classic C. Launch into game, pause. Hopefully Execration fixes their issue. It looks like it's on Palos right now, so hopefully it comes back. I mean, we did have a power outage yesterday as well, or the last time we casted.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, like, I feel like it was MY that called the power shortage last time, so hopefully
we had that mass disconnection as well for yesterday, I think it was, right? Was it Lil Gun? Lil Gun just had the 4 disconnect at the end of the game. I had people ask me about that today in my own stream, asking about what happened. I'm like, well, they just disconnected. No, everyone always thinks there's something behind it, like there's some secret drama that happened. They just disconnected at the wrong time. That's what happened. So you know, nobody rage quit. No. Not yesterday anyway. We've seen some rage quits, but not yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that coordinated of a disconnect, the only other reasoning, if it's not like a power outage or internet outage, is someone literally from the team running up to the router and pulling off. I just can't imagine anyone being that upset to do that.
I saw that in the chat. Someone in the chat was like, the manager just pulled the plug on all their PCs. He's just soaring off. Oh, I had such a big laugh about that. I was watching the replay and I just saw that in chat and I just lost it. I was laughing for a solid 30 minutes about that. Oh.
Like imagine the situation where you're playing game. Imagine you're on LAN and your manager just runs up and pulls all the PCs off on the LAN. Oh, jeez. That'd be something.
Yeah. It certainly would be. Oh, goodness me. It's hilarious. Love you, chat. You guys never stop doing what you're doing. You know, we act all high and mighty, but, you know, secretly, when the games are over, we go back and look at the replays and see what chat was saying, because it's very entertaining. Very, very entertaining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just remember to keep spamming mods to keep our mods in check.
Absolutely.
Mr. Zex and Mr. DoogieBot. Make sure to @ them as well. they know they're loved, and just spam it in chat for a bit.
They had the title wrong today, John, on the stream. People were panicking.
Yeah.
Poor Leon Arthur was panicking in the chat. Because the title, he thought his team needed to play.
I was confused. I was like, what's wrong? The lobby is wrong or the title's wrong? It's like, Dougie wouldn't be wrong on lobby because Dougie's got standards. So I was like, well, something's wrong here, but we'll figure it out. You know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right.
I changed the stream title, just so you know, John. I was there to save the day. Yep. I just do everything around here. Production, casting, observing, streams. I manage the stream too. I'm doing everything. Man of many talents, Jonathan.
Yeah. Look at you. Man with many hats and majestic beard, Mike.
Thank you, John. By the way, you know who, you know which manager or coach would actually pull the plug? I would imagine ROTK would be one of those coaches. Just I don't know why. He just strikes me as that guy, right? Like his team's just not performing to his standard. He'll just come in and just unplug everyone's PC. Like, you guys have had enough. Go home. No dinner tonight.
I can definitely imagine that. Still, what we're not imagining is this match actually pushing through, watching the lanes come out. Palos on the safe lane puck, laning with the Abaddon. This is not a lane combination you see all too often. You can play aggressive if RR does start to get the levels in the curse. You can try to run in, but it's a hard lane to run into. It's that Sand King plus Lina lane. The chain stunts are pretty scary. You have to be on point with your aphotic shield to prevent them from really getting the stunts off, and RR is just going to pop the shield and try to run up. You still have to watch for the range disadvantage you have against that Lina, but if you just leverage the damage of the shield and running up early on, you can still kind of win out against Tigger if you just find the angle. So that's one way to play it, but as the levels go up, it does get manageable for Palos, as you can just dodge some of his spells, but RR is really going to have to work here to have some presence on his pause 5.
Certainly so. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got Bob there on that TA against BB on the Void Spirit, and so far, it does seem to be quite a nice laning stage for BB. 5-2 in terms of CS, however, he is taking a fair bit of harassment now from Bob, and it goes back to that early Meld Strike build that people have been going recently. Especially when you're up against a melee core like this, it is very impactful to have that Meld Strike at level 1. Just the bonus damage plus the minus armor, and now the side blades are gonna get him, Bob. He lines it up perfectly and gives the tip immediately. And that's what you want to see when you're playing that mid lane. I said it yesterday, John. You get a solo kill in that mid lane, you need to tip.
Oh yeah, you gotta feel it. And for BB, a bit of a misplay. He got hit by the side blades. Those are pure damage. So the spillover is not blocked by the Resonant Pulse. He held onto that Pulse for a very long time. He needs to use it more often. He needs to just go in, get the Pulse off, get his right-click damage off, and avoid all of those side blades coming through. As the levels go up for Bob, it's going to be easier to pull that off with either more refractions or more side blades up.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the North? Tigger and RR apparently fighting in the jungle now. So they've had enough fighting in the lane. They'll take it to the jungles, to the streets of Dota 2. There's RR just going to keep going with the aphotic shield, but now the Light Strike Array's there in the neutrals. It's not a 1-on-1 anymore. It's like a 5-on-1. RR, though, he'll still walk away alive. As Tigger and him will salve up. Those salves are meant to be for their respective cores, but who cares about the cores, John? These supports need to get some action too. More stuns. Yeah. RR, he's still getting ganged up on here, RR. He just can't catch a break. This Dark Troll Summoner, he's playing for the side of Execration. Or rather, MY.
Yep. Betraying their own jungle team. Still, you are out of mana. RR was forced to pop his stick, so he's not going to have emergency heal. But Tigger's out of region as well, so he's not going to be able to provide some healing towards Harry, or even maybe have a pocket stun on hand with a Mango. Gonna have to watch his spell use down the line. Still, the last lane we haven't really looked at is that bot lane. You've got Raging Potato and BDZ on the Mirana and Brewmaster. They are laning up against KNP on that Terrorblade and Leonak on
BB.
that clock.
Side blades, Bob. He thought about it. He doesn't go for it. I don't think he had the range there. BB is struggling quite a bit, which is kind of why I recommended the Ember. The Void Spirit not really having the greatest time right now, but you were saying about the bot lane, John. What's going on over there?
It's pretty passive. Like, Brewmaster plus Mirana just doesn't have the same impact. You don't have that stun setup to really start to play with the arrow. You just focus more on the camps, focus more on the range creep snipe. KNP is allowed to pretty much free farm in this lane. Raging's not falling too far behind, but you're not stopping the Terrorblade farm. Leonax also allowed to just get the pulse, not being really harassed out by BDZ so far. So the lane equilibrium is working in the favor of MY, and I think that's enough for them. Like, as long as the Terrorblade hits its level 5 and can maybe dip into jungle, you're pretty happy in this lane.
Palos, phase shift, not gonna be there. Light Strike Array, he's gonna go down. He got a little bit greedy. He went back for the creep wave instead of backing towards the tower, and well, unfortunately RR was not within range to get the Aphotic Shield off. I believe he was going for the small camp pool while that was happening, so Palos, he does get punished.
Yeah, you do have to watch that for the puck in lane. Like, when you're up against dual stuns like that, your dodge spells are on fairly high cooldowns early on in your level, so you're not going to be able to always break that combo from MY, and that's just the power of the Lina Sand King. Chain stuns are always good to have, but I think for Execration, their win conditions having a great time. Like, Bob, after the first level or two, has really overtaken that lane, and that's what you want. The TA is the one who needs to farm, the TA is the one who's going to build up, and Bob's just winning that 1v1 hard. Like, BB's starting to struggle, maybe about 2-3 creep waves behind now. He's going to need to play catch-up somehow, or at least get his level 6 soon, so he can do something to kind of mitigate this.
Yeah, certainly so. Arrow, way off the mark there from BDZ. It looks like he was trying to find KNP. The salve will be there from Leonac to just make sure that KNP does stay relatively healthy. This bot lane, it does seem to be getting slightly more challenging as time goes on, and it does go back to the fact that Raging now is at the level 5 mark, so his damage output is quite high against the TB, and again, you've always got to be a little bit afraid of BDZ with this Mirana. He does take those very awkward angles with the arrows that you just don't expect them to come from. And they can catch you by surprise. So he will go back and stack a bit, he'll find a double damage rune down at the bot rune spot, and he might just save it for Bob. Very nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well. Rune control is very important for both these mids. You're not getting as much value here for MY. You are still, well, you do have the 6 up in BB, but you can see Execration, they're just keeping RR mid in case a dive comes out from BB, and that Aphotic Shield should buy enough time to turn around. With the DD popped, that mid tower might not hold for long if there are no TPs to relieve this.
BB, he's going to make a jump in onto RR. Aphotic Shield's there. This could be a very risky play here from BB, but he has another step. Bob, though, with the DD, would have loved to keep going, and he is. He got a trap there perfectly placed. BB has nowhere to go but down. This mid lane has been an absolute disaster for the side of MY.
Yeah, and it's really the lane that I think they really needed to pressure more. Bob off to this really good start means that the Dragonlance is going to be timely, the Desolator is not too far off from there, and they've still managed to build up stacks in the jungle. So there's a lot of farm for Bob to clear out once the lane does start to either get a bit more commitment out from MY, or the moment they take that tier 1 mid. He's still going to have a source of farm flying out, and MY hasn't done enough to kind of stop that. So we'll see what they pull out down line. I think with the level 6 up on their Void.
Oh, baby! I didn't catch that one, but I'm not... Why is he even bot?
I'm not sure. Like,
mid
had
lane?
no supports around. They are going for mid.
Yeah, Seri's there with the burrow. RR, he's going to have Aphotic Shield, but should be dead here as he doesn't have the level 6. That bot T1, it's going to drop. Raging, he's got the siege creep. He's just going to take the T1 for free. And that mid T1 took so much damage. It's just not going to last much longer. The moment you leave the lane, Bob's just going to take it. He's even got a regen rune for himself, just in case they make the jump.
Yeah, just very secure. And this sets a good pace for Execration. He managed to slow down the Terrorblade's farm, take away his lane. And KNP is going to have to play in that jungle at this point. They can't really shove the top lane out as well. No rotations to get that push of their own going. Seri's dragged down mid to stabilize the mid lane to stop it from being shoved in. They do manage to get a catch-up, though.
Yeah, they've got Raging. Bit of revenge here. BB will be able to take the kill, and I think it is quite important for BB to be able to kind of get himself back on top, right? On this Void Spirit, he needs every kill he can get. And right now, he's behind Raging on the +3 Brewmaster, which it's not a great sign at all. So you know, maybe another kill or two, he can kind of get himself back up in that net worth board. But he is going to currently find himself about 2k behind the TA at 9 minutes, which it's not very good news if you're M1.
No, definitely not. And the ancient stack was just cleared out by Bob. Again, no wards, no form of information to kind of figure out where Bob's farming to even stop it. And they're just fine. Like, even if you get some activity on the map now, you're one tower up. The mid is always under threat because it's pretty low. MY is going to have to play a bit defensively. Maybe once they have levels on their supports. I'm thinking a hookshot on Leonak is going to be one of the times they can start playing. With a Void Spirit and Clock a bit more aggressively, they can start to set up. But look at the movement from Execration. They're lining up for mid. They want that tower to just really open up that map.
Absolutely.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Seri. He's going to be there to defend. It's getting harder and harder to save this tier 1 tower, but they need to, right? Like, you've got a Terrorblade, you need the jungle to be protected. You can't afford to lose this tier 1 mid too early. They've already lost the bot tier 1, but that's not as important. But this mid tier 1, it needs to keep standing for MY. Otherwise, KNP, he's going to be lacking a lot of space to farm up. It's going to be a very rough time if they lose it anytime soon.
EB?
Not again.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And he's in that classic position as well. Like that area is the dangerous zone, right? Like that's the part where they could just go on you if you're not too careful. Nobody can TP nearby because there's no tower, there's no outpost nearby that area. And so of course Palos and Raging, they will take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of stood there. Raging Potato came up with the Cinder Brew first. He didn't really step out. So now your Void Spirit's dead again. Your mid's under pressure. Seri can't really hold this by himself. And it just goes. 2 towers down. No trades coming out from MY. Map space is starting to shrink. And that lead Execration has, 5k at 11 minutes, is pretty darn big. And a lot of that is on Bob. He's got the full Dragon Lance up. He's 1 Mithril Hammer away from the death, so his damage is going to skyrocket at this pace he's going. The silver lining for MY is that KNP is farming that triangle area quite well. Not well enough to have a net worth lead. Still lagging behind even Palos on the puck by 600 gold. Not really the position you want to be in as a Terrorblade. And Execration still gets to control their own triangle better. So, good news here for Execration on the Dire side. They're hitting all their timings well. They've even got the Midas running on Raging Potato. He can even afford to go for this greedier build, just trying to rush the Ags down the line, because they can kind of take these fights without needing a blink, without needing any sort of follow-up items. He just needs to split. And that's the beauty of the Brewmaster. He actually doesn't take that much farm, and the Ags is pretty much all you really want as you scale into late. Still, MY, they've got the Blink and Seri. They've smoked up here.
But you're going after Palos. Like, this is a very hard kill to get. Can you actually get the puck? You don't want RR. He's just an Abaddon. He doesn't mind. He'll happily die. In fact, he's holding a skill point for borrowed time just in case. If they can find Palos, it's a great pickup. Everything's going to line up perfectly, and I think they've missed their timing. And they have. The smoke, it won't lead to much. And MY, they've got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Now, while that happened, Execration jumped into that triangle area. They got blocked on the Ancient camp. So now MY is going to have to commit some resources to D-ward. They have a sentry watching, but it's not in range. And they're just taking resources off the map. Like, while MY sticks together like this, they're not really achieving anything, whereas Execration are always farming in this downtime.
It's a very hard game for Leonak as well, because he's looking for a hookshot target, but it's so limited who he can go for, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't... Well, maybe you can go in mid. They've got Raging now. Arrow's going to fly through. Epicenter, everything being expended, but now the Dream Coil. Palos is looking to turn it right back around. Leonak is set to fall and should go down and does. Maybe they can get their Sanking out of there, or maybe not, because Palos, he's going to finish the job off with Bob. Now KNP and the rest of the crew just have to run. But Tigger, he'll be another casualty of this battle as the shield comes out from RR. Perfect timing. He blocks off all the Laguna damage, and BDZ survives another day. And guess what, John? They can go for the Roshan.
Yeah, fresh Deso delivered mid-fight there for Bob. Insane timings on this TA. This is basically free farm. They could try to make a play with a blink, Hook shot's down for 12. You need to be quick in coming in here to stop this Roche.
Yeah, absolutely, Seri. He can still blink burrow in. You haven't got that epicenter. They'll find Palos, though. This could be a nice way to get started if they can kill him off. But he's got the phase shift. Conks pushback. Still no. They do finally get him. Primal split, raging. He's going to buy more time for that Roshan to get taken down. They're losing Palos now. Seri still looking for the way to blink in. BDZ, meanwhile, is going to die to KMP. He's going to try and get the job done himself with this metamorphosis. BB just trying to back off away from raging for a bit as Bob is going to try and fight the Terrorblade. And KMP is very low on HP, but they might have to try and sneak this Roshan right here, right now. There are 2 heroes down. If they leave it, it's going to go the way of Execration. So they've got to try, and they will. But Bob, he's waiting. He's prepared to jump in, I think, on this TA, and here they come. Raging, gonna make a move in. Burrow Strike is there. Bob not jumping in. He's not gonna make it in time, and that'll mean Raging's gonna die as now Bob. No, Dream Coil's there. Palos, he's respawned. A 5-man Dream Coil, in fact. Tigger goes down as well. Seri on the Sand King, he will be the 3rd to drop. They'll go after BB next. He will go for the step away, but BDZ, is he gonna find him in time? No. Oh, they get him in the fountain. The urn charge.
You're in.
It was the urn plus the Witch's Blade, I believe. I don't know if the Starfall would have made it, but who the hell cares? In the end, the trade still works out. They take down the Aegis anyway. So everything MY worked for, down, it just goes right into the bin, John. Just means nothing.
Yeah, it just... They forced it way too hard. Patience from Bob really paid off. They knew they could take that fight because they were all low, and... MY, they popped their metamorphosis for the Roshan. It's about to fade in the next fight. Oh.
Well, Burrow Epi is going to be there. BDZ, he'll get knocked down, and they do get him. A nice pickup from MY. That's what you kind of want to see. Even if it's a support kill, you just need any kill you can get right now on the side of MY. It buys you more space for this Terrorblade. If they can keep this up, they should be able to close the net worth gap and eventually be able to compete with Execration this game 1.
It's a great pickup. RR now being jumped.
He is,
but they're not going to commit.
No.
It's a tricky target, especially since he's pocketing that borrowed time. I took a look at BB's death summary. He did pop to Starfall. It actually did track him to the fountain. He TP'd out as the Starfall was coming in. So I think he managed to crack all the way in. It's one of those things that you just don't experience most of the time.
It's a Starfall, John. It's a literal star falling. I mean, you know, it naturally it goes to the fountain. You know, it's not a weird kind of targeted ability. It's a star.
Yeah, still, they're not going to care about that Execration. They're just going to keep going, BB.
The Remnant and Hookshot is there. Raging really doesn't want to die, but he gets the Primal Split off in time, and they found Tigger. And Raging, he thought about diving the tier 3. Seri, he's going to be able to Burrow Strike his way back to the base. In Execration, all they want anyway is this bottom tier 2 tower. So they're more than happy to let the rest of MY go, secure the tower, and now take the outpost.
It's such a big win for Execration. Denying out that XP per minute is bad for MY because they need a lot of XP in their heroes to really hit their momentum. They're shutting down more of the map. Bot jungle's pretty much unplayable now for MY. Execration 6k lead up 12-8. MY are trying to get some space out for KNP. He was farming top. He is still lagging severely behind, but he's above the other cores except for the TA. So your Terrorblade's somewhat caught up, has the SNY up and running, is a bit tankier up front. Still needs more items to really match the pacing here from Bob. But otherwise, as long as you keep trying to give your Terrorblade more space, your win condition is sort of building up. There is another smoke out from MY though, but they're being wrapped around here.
They are. They could still fight. They've got every spell up right now, including the meta on KMP, but he's by himself at the moment, right on top of a trap to make matters worse. As his team does back off. They aren't going to make the jump though, because they don't have any vision over the rest of MY. They are smoked up around the Terrorblade, but instead, Execration, they start looping around through to the mid lane. Pings out as well into Raging. So they might want to try and go after the Brewmaster while he does not have the split up, and it looks like that is going to be the plan. Try to pick off that Brewmaster. Seri's going to run right into him, and again, without the Primal Split, there should be no way out, but the Hookshot and Epicenter just in case. Execration thought about trying to fight back. And it's another nice little pickup there from the side of MY.
Yeah, it's a great pickup to have to build up on, especially your Void Spirit. So the kill going to BB is really helpful in rushing at Ags now. We were talking about the AoE silence being so important. His timing for the Ags has been fairly slow. He's not up there in the net worth, behind even Raging, so every little pickup does count for that hero. I don't think the side of Execration minds too much, although Leonak does run around, but is a lonely clockwork. He can't really handle the Abaddon. Execration just farming around that bot jungle. Bob, BKB inching closer. Once you have that BKB on the TA, I don't think you're going to mind at all what MY has. You may be getting annoyed by the hook shot. That's it. Maybe Laguna tickles you a bit as well from Tigger, but in general, you're not going to care in the TA anymore, and that's when Bob can really just go ham.
Execration into that triangle now. Oh, KMP, that's the one they want. That's the big target. They'll get the leash, but can they get the damage? Leonak's in with the hook shot. Still Bob. He'll go straight into the backside as the silence is still going, and they do get him. They've got the Terror Blade, but now Palos, he will be traded. Pos 1 for Pos 1 as Bob, he will find Leonak. So a 2-for-1 trade. It started off great, but you kind of lost Palos on the tail end of that team fight. It's still a win for the side of Execration, as they might even find more now, or maybe not. Raging, he was the one in trouble, but it won't matter because he does find Tigger. And now Seri just has to hide in the tree line and make sure he doesn't get caught, and they're going to jump in again. They'll try onto BDZ, but is it going to cost them? They use their spells up, but it won't matter. They'll be okay to get out. So in the end, MY, they still kind of even out here. It's not really the worst team fight in the world for.
It's not the worst. It's still a loss overall. I mean, losing your Terrorblade is really, really bad. Killing the puck is not enough to compensate. Like, Palos is definitely not the big farmed core. You need to kill Bob to make that trade a lot better. And Bob is just at the point where you're not going to kill him. BKB's finished up now. The next time they jump in, you have to deal with that spell immunity.
Execration's still the ones that want to be playing aggressive. Like, you really don't want to go past that 40 minute mark against TB. It's just not very fun. I always say this, but it's that point where he gets that Eye of Skadi up that it starts to feel impossible to go against the Terrorblade. So they are going to go high ground again. You've got the Ags up on Raging as well, so you've got the 2 charges of the split. Definitely a nice time for Execration to try and force this before the next Roshan is here. And at the very least, they're going to force rotations back to the base. And now they'll look to just try and control the map as much as they possibly can. Seri. What about the Epi? Still thinking about it. Raging Potato, he's not flinching. He's more than happy for you to commit that if you want.
Yeah, it's risky for Seri to just go in like that. I think you have to catch at least the Brewmaster and maybe the Puck or TA, maybe the Abaddon as well. Like, you need a 2-man set of control and damage on in these fights, because if you don't catch the core plus an Abaddon or just the 2 cores, they're going to be able to just jump out, especially with that BKB up and Bob. So you need to line your initiation up very cleanly here from MY. They will play patient. Looks like they will kind of meet each other in the triangle, though.
Raging, he's going to rush right forward onto KMP. He does connect the Cinder Brew, and now with the Primal Split and the Dream Coil, they do lock him down. He'll break the coil as the Epicenter's there, but the Burrow Strike, it connected on nobody. Palos, he jukes it out. They might still be able to save KMP. He's trying to run. He might just make it. He's right by the staircase, and the Sunder is there on BB. He'll be okay. On the backside, though, Seri, I can't say the same for him, but he does blink into the tree line. But Bob, he's right on target with the trap. He does get the Sand King. He'll take him down. They do at least get one. They do miss out on the big one. They wanted that Terrorblade down. It's not going to happen.
And that was the BKB reveal of Bob. So now MY might be able to kind of compensate for that. However, Execration, they've got bigger items coming in. The Chrysalis is formed for Bob, so more damage will fly through. Crits aren't that big yet, but it is the build-up into Daedalus, and once that's up, that's when things get fun for Bob. Although, BKB is up for KNP, so jumping the Terrorblade is also tougher now for the side of Execration. They need to get their own jump in first, and Their stun, I mean, it's going to have to be maybe the Dream Coil into Arrow immediately in that micro stun. That's the one issue right now for Execration. Like, unless you pre-commit the split from Raging Potato to get the Cyclone Dispel Arrow combination going, or just the stuns from the Stone form, you're not going to be able to hold down the Terrorblade until you get, say, an Ags and Palos down the line. But looks like Palos isn't queuing that up. It's going to be a long time. So, MY, they have some more presence here. We'll see if they want to play around with it. They do smoke up.
Double damage rune is going to be picked up by Bob. This could be a rough time to smoke as now the Moonlight Shadow's there. Mid lane, Raging. He's going to spot them out. Seri's going to make the jump in. Maybe they can try to blow him up, and it looks like they will. A nice start, but Execration, they are still going to move in for the fight. Buyback is there from Raging, so they're trying to commit here as the coil is out from Palos on the side blades. Bob, he just shreds 2 of them. He just two-shot 2 heroes.
Yeah, they just melted. The double damage was still up in Bob when that engagement broke off. So he just gets 2 hits, gets the kill. And they can line up for the shove-in on mid now with just 2 heroes to defend MY. Respawns are fairly short, so I don't think the high ground's going to be under too much pressure. And that's still another objective they've bled away. It's still another access point towards Roshan, towards their triangle. That's gone, towards their jungle. And Execration just gets to widen that lead, although...
BDZ is going to have to use up through the reflection, but looks like he should be just fine to get himself out. And look at that, John. Another Roshan. Beautiful. Lena.
Timing just on point.
He gets a rocket flare. They need a fight. I don't think they can let this go. Primal Split's there. Burrow Strike a little bit early, but now they've got the vision. Roshan down, Aegis on the deck, but Bob, he does snatch it away. They still can't get it off them. They'll lose their Sand King, and they might even lose Tiggy here on that Lena. It's Palos doing so much damage even with his own Desolator. One more. He'll get it done.
It's a risky play, but Seri had to try. It was close enough. They at least get the gold, but still not amazing.
Oh, baby. Yeah, he's been caught out again. They'll tornado him up. They haven't got the arrow on BDZ right now, but Palos... Oh, Palos! He missed the Dream Coil! But they'll have the arrow now. BDZ, he'll lock him down.
Still a great set of kills coming out for Execration. They're going to be able to find his tier 2 bot now, taking out all the towers. KNP just trying to get a split push down bot, getting some farm while he can. Trying to save up for the Scotty. Not going to have it up by the next fight, though. So he's going to have to just play with that one ultimate orb. Seri still hanging back. Does have Epicenter ready for the high ground defense. But Execration, there's no pressure to even force that high ground. They have Aegis, they have Cheese, they have the Shard. Even then, they've got this huge lead out. As long as they keep all the waves shoved in towards MY side, you're kind of fine just playing it safe, waiting for a bit of a reset, getting your spells back up. The Dream Coil, probably what they're waiting for on Palos before fully committing on the high ground. Once that's back up, they can just line up their shots and go for another play. The split as well is half a minute off. So, yeah, just a little waiting here for Execration. They don't mind. They've still got the lead. They've got the pressure. MY, half the farm is 5 in comparison. Like, they have to move as a group and go into their own jungle to get their own farm to the camps. And it's never comfy. You're sharing EXP. There's not enough farm to really sustain every single core in the supports here. You're just kind of fighting for crumbs.
Crumbs aren't nice, John. Nobody likes crumbs. Execration will start moving in through the mid lane. Daedalus up on Bob. A tier 3 mid tower looking very appetizing here for the TA. In fact, they might just go after the top. It's a much easier target.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
You've seen the damage output from Bob. If he crits on the Meld Strike, he's just going to blow somebody up instantly. Gotta be very careful. Look at the side blades, baby! Baby's just running around, John. And he lost, what was it, like he had 2/10 of his HP left.
Oh yeah. Just deleted. you got to appreciate the quiver as well. If Bob just decides to randomly get that quiver hit off. And I don't think that was the quiver hit as well in BB. If it was, I think it would have been a lot more painful there.
Unbelievable. It's a creep wave. Yeah, he could have one-shot it if he lined it up well. Not that he needs to. You know, he still clears it out just fine. Looks like the rest of MY. They realize they've got to try and just split push the lanes, make sure that this bot lane does not push in too far. And that's exactly why Seri and Leonak are around here in that tree line. And just make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But you're going to let Bob now. He's going to get to the point where he has that swift blink up. You've still got KMP doing some decent farming himself on the Terrorblade, but it's just the damage output with this TA. Like, he's going to lose his whole team in a split second with this bloody Enchanted Quiver Meld Strike from Bob. It's too much.
Yeah, the damage output's insane. The Scotty's up for KNP, but that will leave him with no buyback. They actually catch him out. That could be a risky spot.
Leonak, nice hook shot TP away as he spotted Raging and BDZ making their way over. It is going to give that ward away, though. It won't matter too much, though. It's important everyone stays alive right now for MY. I think their only play on MY at the moment is to just defend high ground. Like, you're kind of relying on Execration to make a big mistake. Apart from that, I don't see many plays they could go for that would turn this game around. Apart from literally Execration messing up.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have vision outside, or that much vision outside to really go for a smoke play again. Their high ground defense is pretty fine. I mean, Sand King, it's a Lina, good chain stunts. You've got the Void Spirit with the Ags as well. BB can finally get some silence off. They will smoke up. They have to play their cards right, though. Again, fairly blind going out here.
They are.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Can I just say, by the way, thank God Valve changed Epicenter so you can cancel it and it doesn't go on cooldown. And could you imagine? There's the Epicenter, by the way, into the Burrow Strike, but Bob has the Aphotic Shield and the Hookshot misses. They miss everything, and now the Dream Coil. Palos got 4 heroes in it. They are just doomed to Bob on that TA who's just gone to work. And look at the damage output. Nobody's surviving. They're all dying here as they're going to try and turn now. KMP from the high ground, but they'll even lose Tigger. The buybacks are flying out, but they've got the Tornado there on the main culprit. Arrow is actually going to be blocked off by a creep, but is it going to matter? Another Tornado's there. Bob, he's setting up with the Side Blades, and he might just get it done with the Side Blades. In fact, Palos, he'll be the one to finish off the job. BB, he's going to try and run. That's all he can really do. Is to the north, they even found another. No buybacks available. If you're MY, it might be about that time. There you go.
They called. They gave way too much out early on. Bob just building up on that TA. They couldn't contest the jungle. The farm was just flying out for Execration. MY, they went all in on their game plan with the TB. And they didn't get as much farm as they'd want. Like, KNP lost his bot tower way too early on. They lost their mid as well. They couldn't get the tower trade that you tend to look for when one of your tier 1s fall. They couldn't really go for that swap. And they just lost map space. There wasn't enough room for KNP to really be efficient. We saw BB as well. His timing on the Ags wasn't on point. And Bob just really controlled the lane all too well. Like, he managed to get that solo kill. It just built off from that. Bob's just a very snowball-heavy player. We definitely saw Bob the Wrecker here, not the Builder. We'll see if they maintain that for Execration. MY, they have to get back to the drawing board. It could potentially be their last game if it doesn't go their way in the next one.
Let's see if that's going to be the case. We are going to head to a short 10-minute break, but right after that break, we're going to be back with Game 2's draft. We'll see you then.